Quiet, please. Bhíní uisle, cháide, tá anáilt ar fad roimh ag seo ag ócáid iontamte a líonta agus bhfuil drúhaint ag le chlán amháin go háirithe. You're very welcome. It's a very long time since we first had an exhibition in our gallery by Vicki Crowley. It's actually so long ago that we were both so young at the time, we can hardly remember it. But it's just a wonderful pleasure, and I mean a genuine wonderful pleasure to have her back. But even more so, to have with her her daughter as well. We've never ever had that kind of a combination in all of the years running exhibitions in this gallery. And it's a pleasure to have both of them uniquely different in their own right, completely different to the other. And it's kind of like a conversation, a mother-daughter conversation, a woman-to-woman conversation. And we're very fortunate also to open the exhibition one of the great artists we have in this country at the moment, John Behan. So would you welcome, please, John Behan.
Thank you for those words, Tom. They're very helpful to all of us. And it just gives me a great pleasure, and it's an honor to open this exhibition for Vicki and for Dominique. I know the Crowley family for many years, and they were always great friends of mine, including the late Don, who was the stalwart in Galway and indeed in Ireland in his capacity as president of the Rugby Federation of Ireland. So it's an added pleasure, as Tom said, to have such a combination of people here. Mother and daughter, just think of it. It's a potent combination. It's also an artistic combination, which is very unusual, I think, in Ireland. We have many writers here, and many great writers, but in the visual arts we don't have that abundant kind of number of people practicing one particular art form. So it gives me great satisfaction as a fellow artist to welcome that combination. I was just speaking to Dominique, she exhibits now in the RHA every year, and is among the most prominent people there. And it's a great thing that in the RHA now, the Royal Hibernian Academy in Dublin, you have a balance. It's almost 50-50 now, men and women. And that's a great development, I think, in Ireland and anywhere else, really, because it means that there's no distinction made any longer between the ability of the two sexes. You know, they're of equal importance and of equal kind of strength and ability. And we see it here today. It's here in a very obvious way. As I said, you know, you can't have a more potent kind of dynamic than a mother-daughter relationship. And it's wonderful to see it taking the form of artistic expression. And it shows the difference there can be in two people in the same family with the same kind of environment, if you like. We see in the case of Vicki, she is looking around her, as she always has done, and she begins with the tried and the trusted and moves to the unknown. And by that I mean the disappearing Arctic. And I don't know anything about the Arctic. I've never been there. I've been in Norway. That was the nearest I ever got to it. But it was, it's something now that Vicki has explored in her paintings. I find her oils are very kind of satisfactory. There's a satisfaction in looking at them, and looking at them in the sense that she's looking at landscape, she's looking at frogs, she's looking at the life around her. And what I like about her is her development in our colour sense. There are two trees over there on the wall, and one is an orange background, the other is a green. But in those two paintings, Vicki has reached a new development in her career as a painter, because there's a subtlety in those colours that I haven't seen before, and in our landscapes as well, of the water falling down through the river through the bog, and there's a sense of time passing. And that's, Vicki is also a poet, and T.S. Eliot said the quintessence of poetry is a sense of time passing, and Vicki has that in there, within those paintings that we see here today. And I would ask you to look at them and try and get that feeling, because it's there if you look for it, and it's very rewarding when you receive the message to your query, you know, to your investigation. And then we have a completely different way of approaching the visual in the work of Dominique. Dominique has been painting for many years, but she hasn't been displaying, and certainly not around Galway. And she is an artist of remarkable, for her years, remarkable maturity. But she is locating her work in a much more dystopian and less certain world. It's there. It's right here, all around us. And you can see the imagery. It is apparently real in its presentation. But if you think about it a little more as you look, it's not. It's not what you think it is. It's about sea creatures and the human figure. And this is a wonderful painting here. It's #1 in your catalogue. And it's the title is Dream Reaper. What does that mean? The Reaper of Dreams. What's a dream? It's something we're not very sure about. And these paintings display that very competently painted with the imagery of sea creatures and human figures. But they don't do the usual thing when we come to deal with these images. For instance, the sharks are floating in space within a museum context. There is a poetic quality, an elliptical view, which demands a leap in the imagination. We're not going to look at these as if they were pretty pictures. They're not. And that leap of the imagination is the most important thing in the human personal makeup. Einstein said the most important thing in the capacity of the human being is the imagination. And this is what Dominique is asking us to do. Use your imagination. Use your sensibility as well for the visual. But look at the thing not as an objective view in a realistic manner, even though the objects painted, animal or mineral or human, they look very real, and they are, because that's what Dominique intended, I'm sure. The form and images are realistically painted, as I say, the sharks, the jellyfish, the humans that appear. And there's a beautiful small painting on the wall there of a fish in a jar. And Dominique had to go as far as Portugal to get these images, because in our own Natural History Museum, it's all locked away in storage. It's not all available. So even if you want to see them, you can't nowadays. So she's prepared to travel to get the results. And she certainly has done so, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. They float in a pale environment, all of these creatures. Yet, they are not surreal. They are related to the world of surrealism, perhaps. I don't know what Dominique had in mind, but I'm just surmising as a viewer. The figures are well observed, and as I said, that painting number 1 is a really first-class piece of painting. And I would say, without fear or a shadow of doubt, that Dominique is one of the most original young painters that we have in Ireland at this moment in time. Now, if you look at some of the paintings, they're encased in a resin, which is a new technique. The old academy in London, the RA, the Royal Academy, had varnishing day. They have it in Dublin as well. And that was a day that the artists went in and varnished the paintings to bring out the quality of the colour of the paint. And Dominique has stepped up the pace in this observation of making the painting sing and spell out its dynamic. And that's what these paintings are about, the dynamic of observation, imagination, and statement. And Francis Bacon said in recent times, the job of the artist is always, and in the case of Vicki and Dominique, is always to deepen the mystery. That is the job of an artist. And that's what we're looking at today here in this exhibition, which I think is a wonderful combination of personalities, of vision, and of the future of things. We haven't stopped yet, we're still going. Thank you very much.
Well done. Well, thank you, John, as always. Thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Please continue, enjoy the exhibition. And by the way, we take cash in case you don't know. They're all for sale. Anyway, thank you kindly again. Well done, John. Thank you.